Hello everyone! For this Classic Movie Monday, I thought it would be interesting to look at a classic sort of romantic comedy, or at least what I would classify as a classic romantic comedy. And that film, as you can see by the title, is Breakfast in Tiffany's. Now the interesting thing about this film is how it executes a romantic comedy, because usually the ones that I think of that came out in the 80s and 90s don't seem to have this kind of a structure. When it comes to showcasing this kind of formula that this film tries to sort of set up. A lot of the times in romantic comedies, usually the comedy is very just very awkward and really raunchy, I'd say. At least nowadays it's become very, very raunchy. But it's really nice to see a film like this that just kind of tries to keep it classy for the most part. And it doesn't really result to really dumb, jokes. So, again, I think this is one of those films that really does take romantic comedy as a genre seriously, which I think rarely romantic comedies do, and when they do, it's usually far in between. So the interesting thing about this romantic comedy, in particular Breakfast in Tiffany's, is that even though it is expressed as being a romantic comedy, it also blends in a little bit of drama. So it's not trying to be full-out laughs the entire time, but at the same time it's trying to have that lightheartedness that that romantic comedies, I think, try to present. And it also creates an interesting story centered around the characters, and I think executes itself overall fairly well. So I think it's also important to note too that this was really the role for Audrey Hepburn, because it's been that whole image of her, just wearing the classy dress and being all sophisticated. That was just something that stands out as being like Hollywood classic. That's just like a Hollywood classic kind of poster or look for at least her. And I think a lot of people tend to associate her with this film for the most part when it comes to her career specifically. Although I'm sure that there's been other films where she's done really well. This one seems to be a signature look, I guess, for Audrey Hepburn. So basically, the plot of this film really revolves around the two love interests, or the two main characters who end up being love interests of one another. And the woman's name is Holly Golightly, who is played by none other than Audrey Hepburn. And the dashing man in this movie is George Peppard, or Paul Varjak, who was played by George Peppard. And basically, the plot sort of revolves more around Holly, since she kind of has a backstory and a past, and that's all revealed within the plot, and I really don't want to give that away, because I think that's up for the audience to figure out for themselves. But really it is about these two sort of going through life and sort of sharing their lives together. Like, you'll see how they go on these various different little excursions, and it does feel like this very, there's like this, it feels like this very normal and likable relationship. And it is emphasized too that Holly as a character is very eccentric, naive, but also is very classy and sophisticated, and also very intelligent, but at the same time she has these sort of issues with her ability to really develop like real relationships, because it is emphasized within the beginning that she is a socialite, that she goes out and does all of these various parties and goes to these various parties and basically seeks money that way. And Paul Barjack as a character is rather different because he's just a writer trying to make his way, and he's also a character that's very likable, but in a different way than the way Holly is likable. He just always tries to be the one to, do the right thing, and always tries to help Holly out with whenever there are various circumstances that arise, which you will see within the film. And I think it only makes sense that these two would somehow come together, and you do really see sort of the chemistry and the acting that just, I think, really shines through and makes the film unique. And also the line that the lines of dialogue that Paul says towards the ending of the film as he's getting out of the taxi, I think really speaks volumes, and really showcases what the film was trying to get across thematically. And I just think the acting and Audrey Hepburn's, reaction is just, I think it's really spot on, and I think it's definitely something that really makes the film stand out as a whole, because it showcases to you the importance of the relationship within the film. Now, the thing is the reason why I think this film stands out in particular when it comes to romantic comedy is not only does it have this kind of classy way of approaching, character relationships and bonding, it also is really, it just has this down to earthness that I think makes it stand out. Again, it's not trying to be complex. It's not trying to say something so deep, like, or dark, like, something like maybe Citizen Kane, or, it's not like that at all. But at the same time, the fact, even though it is simplistic, it still handles that simplicity well. And I think it was really one of the romantic comedies to do it well, compared to a lot of other ones that I've seen over the years. When I look at the lineup of romantic comedies that are available to me, I'd say that this one in particular really does stand out, and I think should be regarded as a classic for that genre, because it knows how to bring out these simplistic aspects. And sometimes, life is all you need. That's all you need to tell a story. And the way I think it executes this story about these two people's lives, I think really works. And are they as complex of characters? No. But at the same time, they're designed to be likable characters, engaging characters, and people that you eventually root for in the end. And and I like that there's the fact that Holly sort of grows as a character, and she doesn't start off. She starts off seeming like she has this pitch perfect lifestyle, but really deep down there's a lot of history with her. And I think the film was sort of trying to highlight how she gets past it. And you really will though see this within the film, and how sort of her trying to start a new life for herself is not really going in the way that that she initially thought. And there's also things that she expects to happen but really don't end up happening. So there is a lot of flaws with her, but then there's also the fact that she overcomes those flaws and realizes what's truly important. And I think that's really the heart of the film. And again, Paul does have his flaws too, and he's not really pitch perfect. Although I will say he's not really given so much of a backstory, but at the same time, he does really want to try to solve problems and get around whatever needs to be solved so that Holly is happy. And I think that's really his purpose within the film. And I like the fact that he does have this sort of likability to him, and he does feel very down to earth. He feels like he could be a genuine, real person. So I think that's something that I think too makes this film stand out in particular. So it's definitely, I think, worth considering if you enjoy romantic comedies, if you don't mind there being two people, falling in love, then you will enjoy this film. However, if you don't like romance for whatever reason, then you're probably not going to particularly enjoy this film unless you like romance executed in a classy, sophisticated way. And if you do like romance executed in a classy, sophisticated way, you will like this film for sure. And I think overall, romantic comedies haven't been given really a good name over the years, and it's really unfortunate because I think there are some ones that do stand out, and I think definitely Breakfast and Tiffany's is one of them, and I think at least one of the first ones to really, I think, attempt it well, though I'm sure there are others if anybody knows of any. But ultimately, though, I think that's really all I can say about this film in particular. But if there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.